This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last classes, we have seen the demo part where we discussed the contents what we are going to discuss in our course. And in the last class, we have seen about the programming concepts. Like whenever you want to write a program, we should have a basic idea on some of the programming concepts like the meaning of comments, then keywords, variables, data types, how to declare a variable, and the meaning of method, like that. Okay. However, we are going to discuss all these terminologies once again so many times when we go with the basics part. Today, let us start off with the next one, Java introduction. So today also we'll be going something around 30 minutes, and from tomorrow onwards, the class time will get increased. So let us go with the introduction. So before we go to this Java introduction, let me ask one small question. That is, whenever we are developing software applications, we are having two approaches to develop software applications. One is structured approach and one more is object oriented approach. When we go with the structured approach, that is structured programming. So which are the programming languages supports structured approach? Anyone?
C language.
Very good. C language, Pascal, COBOL, all older languages are structured approach. Then example programming languages of object oriented.
Java.
All right. Java. What else?
Python.
Right. Python.
That's all I know.
C++, .NET, PHP, all these are object oriented. So Java comes under as object oriented. You can see Java is an object oriented programming language. Java is what? It is an object oriented programming language developed by James Gosling. Developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems. With Sun Microsystems. Now, this Sun Microsystems is acquired by which company now? Any idea? Java is a product of which company now?
Oracle.
Very good. Oracle Corporation. It was done in 2010. So now onwards we should say Java is a product of what? It's a product of Oracle Corporation. Now, since Java is object-oriented programming language, so before we enter into Java, we should have a basic idea on object-oriented concepts. Without having basic idea on object-oriented concepts, entering into Java will be difficult. So today objective is, we'll go with this object-oriented concepts. Even we call it as features. We are having totally 6 important features of object-oriented. They are objects, classes, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So these are the 6 important features of object-oriented. In order to enter into Java, we should have a basic idea of what is object, what is class. So today objective is, we'll discuss what is object, what is class, so that from tomorrow onwards, we can enter into Java easily. And however, we are going to discuss all these features using Java technology, and this will take totally 5 days to complete this object-oriented concepts using Java technology. So today, let us understand about these two terms. What is object, what is class? Let us start off with the first term, object. The meaning of object is like any real-time entity which has some features, which has some properties, we can call it as an object. Like example, if you consider a laptop, before you purchase a laptop, what features, what do you check in laptop before you purchase? What do you check before you purchase a laptop?
How fast is it? What are the features?
Like
Yeah.
examples, the RAM capacity, the make,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
model,
mostly
the color, price,
the
the
mostly the
processor,
processor is
right? The graphic card, right? The screen size, the price of it, like that. These all things we are going to check. So those things only we call it as what? Features or properties. Then how to define an object is like an object is a real-time entity. An object is what? It's a real-time entity which has identity, state, and behavior. Which has what? Identity, state, and behavior. Let us understand these three terms using a diagram. Object.png. So let us consider an object like a car. Let me go with a car. Now, how to identify a car uniquely? By using the registration number. Then, for a car, we go with the state. The meaning of state is like the properties what we see in the car. The properties what we see in the car, they are only what? State. Like we check their make, the model, the color, price, capacity, like you can say seating capacity or engine capacity, fuel capacity, the fuel type like petrol or diesel, like this. Okay, what are the features we see in the car? That only we call it as what? The state. So today the terminologies are important. This state, we can even call it as, this state even we call it as data members or variables or fields or properties or attributes. So different people use different terminologies. Different people use what? Different terminologies. Okay. So this we can even call it as what? The state, the data members are variables or fields or properties or attributes. I'm giving all the terminologies what people use. Then, for a car, we go with the behavior. So what do you mean by behavior? The actions what we perform. Behavior. So what we can do with car? What are the operations we can do with car? We can
brakes,
yeah, we can drive, we can apply brake, we can change gear, we can reverse, we can stop, like this. We can stop. So like that, blow horn, like that. So what are the actions we are performing? That actions only we call it as behavior. And this behavior, we can call it as, this behavior we can call it as methods or functions or operations. All the meanings are same, right? So what is an object? It's a real-time entity which has ID, state, and behavior. And what are the diagram I'm drawing? That also will be shared to you along with the documents. Now, the next term is class. The next term is class. How to define a class is like a class is a collection of data members and methods. Means the state of your object will act as data members inside your class. The behavior will act as methods inside the class. Like example, how to create a class in Java is by using a keyword class. So what is the meaning of keyword I mentioned in the last class? A predefined word where your language will understand. So here we go with a keyword class and the name of the class. I'm going with person. Then open and close curly brace. Means the class begins at open curly brace and ends at closing curly brace. Then here we go with the data members. So what do you mean by data members? The variables. Like for a person, what we go? We go with the age of the person, we go with the name of the person, we go with the height of the person. Then when we say age, in age, what type of value we store? Like integer, a numeric value without any decimal point, that we call integer. So whenever we take the variables, we have to mention the data type before the variable so that it allocates memory for that variable. Then for name, we go with what? Alphabets, collection of characters. So we say string. Which is what? String. S capital here in case of Java. Then height, we go with the numeric value with the decimal point. Then we go with what? Float here. Height is what type here? Float type. Right? Yeah. Yes, Riya.
Objects are also a part of class.
They are not part of class. They are like a variable of class type. Class is like data type.
Because
Object is like a variable. Object is like a variable.
okay,
Okay.
but we are using data members belong. Sorry, sir, you speaking?
Yeah. Yes, yes, Riya.
Yeah. So because we are data members or the variables are part of object, right?
Yeah, they are part of
Uh,
object. They are part of what?
yeah.
Object.
So then
Means
objects also
object
should be a part of
like,
class, no?
yeah. So simple way to question. If I say int, what is this?
Int is a data type.
Data type. Similar way we can say person is also a data type. Got it?
Okay.
A
Person
generic
is
word.
how
Person is also, yeah, it's a data type. Actually, class also comes under data type only. It's a part of data type. Now, if I say int n is what type here? Integer. Then if I say person p is what a person type. Here we call p as object. We call it as what? Object, because here we are taking a class and a class can go with what? Different we can manage different types here. But where n is what? Only one data type. When is what? Only one data type, we can call it as like a variable. Even objects are also called as variables. Even object is also variable only. Here we are going with what? Collection of different data type. Here we are going with only one data type. So when you are able to manage multiple data of related to one entity, then we call it as object here. Clear? Right? We can
yes.
call object and variable like synonyms only. Even the object is also called as variable. No problem at all. Clear, Sriya?
I didn't
So
understand
people
exactly.
ask
That is a
what is difference
problem.
between variable? What is difference between variable and object? Right?
Class and object, and also variable, all the three.
All the three. So simple words to say, class is a data type. Class is a data type. Then variable and object both are same, which is going to occupy the memory. Which is going to occupy the memory. Then why we are calling this P as an object now? So when you are allocating memory for a data type like class, then we call with the special name object. When you are allocating memory for a primitive data type, like we call this n as what? Integer as primitive type, then we call this n as a variable. Simple words we can say, even object is also called as a variable only. What is variable? Identifier. What is variable? Identifier. We are able to identify the object using what name? P name here. Clear? So variables are objects, everything, the terminologies are same, which is going to occupy some memory space. And whatever the name we are giving to that memory space, we call it as variables. Clear? And why
Okay,
the
sir.
special name object? If you are allocating memory for a class data type, then we call with a special name object. Got it? Right? I'll take at the end,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
take one more good example. How to differentiate between a class and object. Okay, I'll take that example also at the end today. Okay,
Okay,
right?
sir.
So whenever we go with a class, we can manage multiple data. We can able to manage multiple data. If you take only n, we can manage only integer type. So when we go here, it's all what? Real time. It's all real time. A person is what? A real time entity. A real time entity here. There. Now we go with the methods. We go with the methods like what a person can do, what actions a person can do. A person can eat. When we say method, we end with parenthesis and we go with what? Open and close curly braces. A person can walk like this. A person can walk. So what is a class? A class is a collection of some data members and methods. So this is the way how class looks. Just a second. Hello, Tanusha. Yeah. Hi, Tanusha.
Hi, good morning.
Now, once we create a class with some data members and methods outside of the class. What do you mean by outside? After this curly braces. Outside of the class, if you say age equal to 20, this will go with error. We cannot access these members outside of the class directly. Then how to access these members? How to access these members means by creating object of your class. So this point is required for me to enter into Java. That is the members of the class. So when you say members, it can be your data members or it can be your methods. The members of the class are accessed using objects with dot operator. With what? Dot operator. This point is required for me to enter into Java. Then, how to create objects? Creating objects. How to create object is the syntax of creating object is, what do you mean by syntax? The rules of the language. Okay, the rules of the language. So how to create object is we have to go with the class name, object name equal to new class name, where new is a keyword here. So class name, object name equal to new, class name and end with parenthesis. This is the syntax. Like example, what is the class we have created above? Person. Person is the class. So right here person, the object name P equal to new person. So in this, P is an object of class person. What is this P? It is an object of class person. Then, now by using this object P with the dot operator, now we can give value to age. By using P with the dot operator, now we can give value to name. Since name is of type string, the value should go in double quotes. By using object P dot height, we can give value to height. By using object P, we can call the method eat. By using object P, we can call the method walk like this. So this point is important for me to enter into Java. Clear all of you? What is class? What is object? Right? So even though I discussed what is class, what is object, still some people will have confusion how to differentiate class and how to differentiate object. Okay, so how to identify objects, how to identify classes. For that, let us suppose if the client is coming to us and giving the requirement. Who is client? Can we call client as end user? Okay,
Yeah.
may not. So the people who is giving requirement to us, remember the people who is giving requirement to us, you call them as client. The people who are going to use the application finally, they are called as end users. Sometimes the clients may also be end users. Let me take an example. Let us suppose if Citibank is giving the requirement to us to develop a software where we can use Citibank application. Like we should able to deposit or we should able to withdraw, we should able to do all the other transactions. So we call Citibank as the client. Then the people who are going to use the application, like we open no net banking, like citibank.com, or we may go to Citibank ATM. The people who are going to use the application finally, we call them as end users. The people who are going to use the application are end users. The people who are giving the requirements to us to develop the project, we call them as clients. Let us suppose a client is coming to us and giving the requirement like this. So from the given requirement, we want to identify the objects and classes. So let me say the name as identifying objects and classes from the given requirement, from the given scenario. Let me take a small scenario here, like Mr. XXX teaches Java at RRR Technologies. Mr. XXX teaches Java at RRR Technologies. PPP attends Java sessions. PPP attends what? Java sessions. Mrs. XXX teaches testing at the same company. QQQ attends testing sessions. So this is a small scenario given to us. From this, we have to identify the objects. How to identify the objects is the nouns. The English grammar word noun. The nouns are your objects here. The real existing things are objects. So what are objects here? Can you identify from beginning? What are objects?
The real entities.
Yeah. So from beginning, Mr. XXX, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
PPP.
Before that, Java. Java. Then after Java, the next one.
PPP.
Before that, one more is there.
RRR.
Yeah, RRR. Yeah, Rohini, there is some problem from your end. The mic is not good. Noise is coming. You can use messages, okay? You can use
Okay.
messages.
Okay.
Thank you, Rohini. Yeah, RRR. After RRR, PPP. Then after PPP,
QQQ.
before that,
Company.
no, company is already done. This one. Yeah, Rohini, correct.
Yeah.
Mrs. XXX. Then after
Yeah, that's
XXX, Mrs. XXX. Testing
QQQ.
and QQQ, right? Very good. Testing and QQQ. So these are the objects from the given requirement. Now, once we identify the objects, the next step is we have to categorize the objects. How to categorize? Like if I say Mr. XXX and Mrs. XXX. What these two are? What is the role they are playing from the given requirement, from the scenario? What is the role they are playing? What these two are?
Teaching.
Right, Ravini, correct. So we call them as tutor or teacher or faculty or professor, like that. So let me say faculty. Then Java and testing. What these two are?
Interfaces through which they connect to people.
Yeah, what these two are? These are courses, subjects, technologies. So let me go with the name course. Yeah, streams, right. Then RRR, it's a company or institute, anything. Then PPP and QQQ.
End users are the
Not end users. Here in this
clients.
scenario,
Okay.
clients,
Students.
students, candidates, these two are attending the course, means these two are about a student. Okay, these four names what we got: faculty, course, company, student. These four names only we call them as classes. So for this small scenario, for this small requirement, how many classes we have to create? See, we have to create totally 4 classes. We have to create totally how many classes? 4 classes. So how to differentiate object and class? The generic words, the generic terms are what? Classes. The real existing things are what? Objects. So we can even define a class like a class is a collection of related objects. What is here? A class is what? It's a collection of related objects. Okay. Let me take our scenario only. If you take our scenario, myself, that is Raj. Raj is an object of class faculty. Narendra, Fani, Rohini, Sriya, you all people are what? Objects of class student. The real existing things are your objects. The generic names what we use for your object, they are what? Your classes. Got it, everyone? How to differentiate class and object?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
And
So
variables
anyone
are
having
a
any
part.
questions?
Yeah.
Simple way to say object is a variable. Okay.
Okay.
So object can hold data, right? Can object hold data?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Then
like object
variable can
can't
hold
hold
data.
data, but
Can object hold data? Yes. Variable can hold data? Yes. Means object is a variable only. What is variable? Identifying. Identifiers. Variables what? Identifiers. Variables are what? Identifiers. So if I say here we are having age, we are having name, we are having what? Height. We are having height. So all these three are connected to the object P here. All these are connected to what? Object P. So P is holding what? P is holding some data. Then we can call this one as variable. We call it as what? Variable. Since this P, we are referring to what data type? Person. We are referring to what data type here? Person. Since person is a class, then we call this P with one more name, object here. So simple words, object and variables are like synonyms only. If you are able to store some data, then we call it as variable. So object is also holding some data. We can even call object also variable here. Got it? Okay. So to differentiate very easily, since object is referring to a class type, then we call with a special name object. We call with what special name? Object here. So simple words, object is also variable only because you are able to identify with some name. Got it, Sriya?
Yes, sir, I got it now. Thank you.
Right. So can we say class is a data type? Like we are having int is a data type. Can we say class is also data type? Yes. So class is also a data type only. Related to Java, int we call with a special name primitive data type. Classes comes under reference data type. Okay, so more about these data types, everything I'll be discussing when we come to basics part. So once we go with basics, then the terms like data type, variable, all these things will be much more clear to us. Any other questions, anyone?
So when we create a class, the class doesn't have any memory until we create the object, right?
Yes, right, very good. That's the thing.
Okay.
Class will not have any memory. Okay, when you create object only, it's going to allocate memory file. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So the objective of discussing today is just to understand two terms. Just understand two terms. What is object? What is class? So that when I use these two terms, when I start with the Java programming, you should not feel confused. And when I start with the Java object-oriented programming, the concepts of object-oriented programming will be totally clear. Okay, right? So let me stop here for today. And tomorrow onwards, the class timing will get increased. And tomorrow I'm going to start off with the next one, Java features. We are in total 18 important features of Java that I'm going to discuss tomorrow. And the next class will be entering into the practical part, like where I'll be showing how to download and install Java, and we'll be developing a Java application. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much.